Hi everyone, this is Nikki Yu, also known as Places Trader, and you're watching the Awesome10X Philippine Market Update. Today is April 14, 2021, and I'm sure a lot of people nag-trend in the Philippine market that Doggy Coin has broken 10 cents. Now, I know that this is a Philippine market update, pero news for you. So the meme stock is GME, the meme crypto is Doggy Coin. Both of them has flown 20x actually since January 1, 2021. So that was about 4 months. More than 10x, 20x moves. All right, so let's take a look at the Philippine market. Your Philippine market is 6,523, up 65 points, up 1%. Let's take a look at whether the market actually has volume. So market value continues to be very down, 4 billion pesos. So you're seeing that despite the uptick today, there's still a lot of people who are skeptics and very little value traded, means that everyone's really more on the selling side or more on the sideline side. Despite the fact that there's advancers today, I don't think that that is a huge bullish move because of the lack of volume. Nonetheless, it's still a good thing to see that the Philippine market is up, considering your US markets are up, very strong. Your crypto markets are very strong. Philippine markets, however, is very weak. So let's read. Okay, let's take a look at the index movers. So index movers, you could see that majority, let's read the prices first, it's all within the 2% bracket. So it's not really a huge movement upside. SM Prime 35.7, SM 980, BDO 104, BPI 83.5, Ayala Corporation 769, JG Summit 61, Jollibee 184, Metrobank 44, PLDT 1240, AEV 35.8, Globe 1843, AGI 10.8, Bloomberry 7, Luciatan Group 13.7, DMCI 5.29, Aboitiz Power 23.7, San Miguel Corporation 117, GT Capital 528.5, First Gen 30.9, ICT 126.6, Emperador 10.5, Security Bank 119, Meralco 278, Pure Gold 37, Robinson's Land 1788, MPI 392, Ayala Land 3325, Robinson's Retail 55, URC 130, Megaworld 348. So you are seeing that the market's money is actually escaping the Philippine market, even with a slew of winners and winners, because the volume is very little. So let's take a look where the volume is in top traded names. So top traded names are Ayala Land, 3325, still not big enough actually, even if it's top traded. Ascen 739 could be range bound at 8 pesos. Dito Telecom went up a bit, 10.7, range bound, perhaps 11, 12, 13. Converge 18, at least there's volume, but still Converge has been in a range. Metrobank 44, BDO 104, Pure Gold back at 37. Will we be able to see Pure Gold go back to 35, 36? So far, Pure Gold is trapped between 35 to 40 pesos, so a 5 peso range. BSC climbed up 5%, 102. Good job for BSC. SM Prime 35.7, URC unchanged, halos 130, Mega World down 3%, 348. All HC going up 8%, Primex going up 8%, 329. APL going slightly unchanged pa rin, 202. Land down 5%, Merrimart 537, Meralco unchanged, BPI 2%, AGI 1%, Jollibee 2%. So you're seeing in the top 30 names, the only big movement in the market is All HC and Primex with 8% up. Top gainers, so other than those two, the market is value traded is very small. So it's just been All HC, Primex, BSC. The rest are very little volume traded. So we could see that the Philippine market has lack of buyers in the Philippines. So there's really lack of buyers and lack of sellers. No volume being traded in the Philippine market. So let's take a look at any news, if any. Basa muna tayo ng news. Sige, let's try to read. So news-wise, close natin to. Lotto, Alco, FEU, BCB, IMI, ANS, MWide, Ayala Corp, IPO, DD REITs, press release. Sige, let's read the DD REITs press release. Megaworld says the most stable income has still been their office business despite the pandemic. So let's read that. Declaration of cash dividends, DDMTR. Okay, Macro Asia Annual Report, KPPI, Informational Transactions, Material Transaction, Mega Wide Press Release. So let's read the Mega World statement. So Mega World is saying that their office business space is their most stable business income after finalizing new office leases even during the COVID-19 pandemic. They've got around 135,000 square meters of office space. It was leased in the townships in Iloilo, Quezon City, and Fort BGC. And leases were made mostly by BPO, e-commerce, logistics, and financial firms, of which 20% were booked in its Iloilo Business Park. So there's a total of 145,000 square meters of office space that were renewed, and Mega World Premier offices still ended with 10 billion pesos in rental revenues. At this point, we can say that our office business is even our most stable income generator in our company's revenue stream, with or without this health crisis. We continue to see expansion on this business in the years to come and to further strengthen our leadership in the country's office property sector. So you would be perhaps a little bit surprised about this news because we would assume that office space leasing would be a very difficult thing in a pandemic given the remote work, diba? The secular trend of Zoom video, Zooming on businesses. But it seems as if net income for Mega World is still high because of this BPOs, despite the fact that remote work and e-commerce segment. So, yun. The adjustments made by various business segments amidst the challenging environment, amidst the challenging, allowed us to benefit from the gradual reopening of the economy. Okay, so they have 26 integrated urban townships, lifestyle communities, and real estates across the country. So I'd say that Mega World is one of the companies in the Philippines that you want to actually check out on. What we'll do with Mega World is to understand more closely what are these urban townships. The best way to do that, siguro, instead of reading the news, is let's try to focus on the property segment. Let's read up on it, huh? So DD REITs, so let's read all the property related news. So DD or Double Dragon announced a regular cash dividend because of its REITs, 2 cents. 2 cents on a $2 peso is 1%. No? So this is a regular dividend given to all the shareholders as of April, on the record as of April 28, 2021, and will be paid on May 10, 2021. REITs will be giving about 3 to 4% or 5% yield depending on how prices are moving and how their income are doing. So this is DD REITs 2.2. So the alternative here is really for the bonds. So material information is related to DD REITs acquiring land in the future so that there's more office spaces. And I think that is the business plan goal of DD REITs. So ganyan. So dividends yan, 2 cents. And then it says here that rental income still managed to be 135 million pesos due to the additional tenants in Double Dragon Center West and the full year contribution of Double Dragon Center East. Their net income for the full year 2020 was 5 billion pesos. And core net income is about increasing by 73 million to about 1.32 billion pesos. Their assets grew to about 45 billion pesos. Equity grew to 35 billion pesos. Company is 97% leased out and continues to be stable. So what you're seeing is that the office space leasing in the Philippine markets aren't as bad as thought. So according to the property reports of our listed companies. What else is the comprehensive report? Okay, so let's read what Cap Wealth Property Philippines here is saying, KPPI. So what are they saying here? Wala nakasulat dito. So hindi. Okay. Ano pa yung importante? Megawide. Okay. So Megawide is realizing synergies from a fully integrated EPC platform. So what's the EPC platform? Let's read that. The EPC platform, the company is beginning the mobilization for the Malolos Clark Railway project. This is in the first phase in the second quarter of the year. Says here that they are providing support facilities for Hyundai, Dong-A, and Megawide after going through winning a stringent bidding process. Meeting the requirements, they want to build 2 mobile batching plants in the area to ensure efficient production and delivery of high-quality ready-mix concrete Company believes that the government's rollout of major infrastructure projects like the MCRP, the North-South Commuter Rail Project South Line, and the Metro Manila subway system will be catalysts to jumpstart the economy. In a way, MegaWide is excited for the infrastructure pivot, and it's going to leverage over its vertically integrated construction advantage. Sige. So, what's the EPC platform? It's the Engineering, Procurement, and Construction Platform. Okay, so the company is operating a 20-hectare industrial facility in Taytay, Rizal, which houses its main precast plant and a vast stockyard. They maintain mobile and strategic site-based batching and precast plants for large-scale projects. We believe on top of expertise in our construction, our wide array of integrated EPC services attracts foreign partners. This is our game plan, which we eventually will share with all our partners. Okay, so the MCRP is part of the 17-kilometer north-south commuter railway project of the TOT that will link the new Clark City and the Clark International Airport to Metro Manila and nearby cities. I think that is a good thing to explain, no? I think in the Philippines, no matter how bad news are, we should actually think about what we have. So what we have is actually an infrastructure pivot. That is correct. What MWide is doing is trying to link Manila to as far as Clark with this project in a very short span of time. So these are projects that are interesting because we will need another new airport, and that is Clark International Airport. So recall that Clark International Airport was won by Philinvest and MegaWide. I think there was even tama ba? Clark International Airport winners. Meron pa yung sa Singapore Airlines na nag-ooperate si Changi Airport, 'di ba? So there's news on that Matagal na yun So I think like this one is an important thing. Clark Airport, the inauguration is set on June 11. Start the operation. Okay, so to open in July with contactless passenger solutions. So nagawa na yan. And then dito, Telecommunity is building a Google Campus-inspired data center in Clark Global City. MegaWide is starting construction of the Malolos-Clark Railway Project. So, sige, let's talk about these things, no? Construction, MegaWide, what's happening to Clark Global City. That's a very, that's something that should inspire Filipinos. What's happening in Clark Global City. It's actually a positive answer to what's happening in the congestion of Manila on making the entire Philippines, at the very least, a few pockets grow better to provide jobs, to provide the necessary data centers. So these are good. Dito is building a Google Campus-inspired data center in Clark Global City. Okay, it's broken ground for this data center with Udena Land, the Clark Global City in Pampanga. Data center will be located in an 8-hectare Dito headquarters. Take note that the goal of this Pampanga is to be a second BGC. Okay, so it's going to be a regional center, an R&D segment. It is a critical component to sustain Dito's commercial operations center. Okay, it's the ideal location. They will generate thousands of jobs, and it will be launched in commercial services in Visayas and Mindanao last month. It's a key area on this ongoing infrastructure rollout. Dito is the third telco with the duopoly of Globe and PLDT. Drawing complaints over slow internet speed, poor reception in some areas, among others. Okay, so you're seeing the breaking ground, during the groundbreaking ceremony. Okay, you've got who? Luopo, the Vice GM, Jedi Philippines. Jan Min, which is the President of NEPC Power Construction Corporation. Retired Police Brig General Manuel Garland, President and CEO of the Clark Development Corp. Benedicto Laksamana, Project Director of Dito Telecommunity. Wilfredo Placino, President of Udena Land. Raina Ventura, the VP of Business Enhancement, Clark Development Corp. Retired General Ralph Mamuag, VP of Engineering Service of Clark Development Corp. And Ryan Shiayi, Project Director of CEEC during the groundbreaking ceremony. So you're seeing that Udena Land is envisioned to be the country's truly smart cities, areas close to the Clark Airport and other transportation hubs. Company is now being operated by Dennis Uy and China Telecom, passing its first-year commitment through registering a minimum broadband speed of 507 Mbps for its 5G service. So dito is covering 37% of the country's population, reaching its first-year commitment of 37%. So not bad. So dito telecommunity is beginning the commercial operations and people seem to be happy about it. Do you want to watch that? 2 minutes.
For the first time, incoming Philippine major telco player.
Oh, sorry, I have, wait lang. So those are, may ads lang. There's some ads. Spotify. Yung nagbabayad. Okay, sige. Let's go for the news actually. Thank you, Spotify. Daming ads, guys. Kasi wala akong bayad sa ads ko eh. Okay lang. Hintay lang tayo. Bounce, Palmolive Naturals. Okay, let's start with the news.
Fields questions from the local press amid uncertainties on how and when exactly it will challenge the duopoly of Globe and PLDT. Even as it nears government-imposed deadlines on its operations, Dito Telecommunity continues to face national security concerns over its partnership with Beijing-owned China Telecom. But Dito Chief Administrative Officer Adel Tamano asserts they have put in place measures that would protect national security while saying they're leaning heavily on China Telecom for its technical expertise.
Unlike Globe and Smart, we actually had to submit a cybersecurity plan for approval by the NTC and the ICB. And we did that. And as a Filipino company, we're not going to allow breaches in national and cybersecurity.
Several lawmakers earlier flagged Dito's plans to build telco towers within military grounds due to supposed cybersecurity risks. Aside from China Telecom, the telco player is also counting on Chinese money to fund its ambitious 150 billion peso or $3 billion spending drive for 2020. Tamano reveals they've recently made a $500 million drawdown from its loan facility with the Bank of China. This would allow it to meet some of the commitments under its deal with government, including having 37% network coverage by July 2020 with an average minimum speed of 27 megabits per second. However, customers who may want to sign up for the third major player will have to wait longer, as Dito says its commercial operations will only begin by March 2021, which the company says is still in line with it.
Okay, so I had to cut it short. What's interesting, guys, is that this is what you have to keep in mind, and what we may have to discuss maybe next few market updates. Let's discuss in depth what are the goals of the property sectors in the Philippine market. Sample, what's Mega World's plan, their capex? What's the game plan of Dito Telco? You could see that those are old prices. And because the market in the Philippines is down 50% from its prior prices pre-pandemic, I'd say that the value in the Philippines is there. We have a waiting time zone, so you don't get to make a lot of money in the short term. But will you make some money in the long term? The answer is yes. So assuming that you've got 100,000 pesos lying down there, the question is, other than, of course, investing in global stocks, other than investing perhaps in your, I'm not sure, but I would assume some people invested in their cryptocurrencies or they're speculating on it. At some point in time, you want to answer to yourself, well, do I think that Macro Asia at 4.9 is going to go 10 pesos someday if the airlines are back in town? And do I assume that with Mega World at 3.5 or 3 pesos, will it go back to 5 pesos? Will Ayala Land at 33 go back to 45 pesos? And will SM Prime actually go back to 40 pesos? So those are valid questions, and those are actually valid buying opportunities in case that the market recovers pretty much within a year or so. So I think that when you see a lot of dark clouds in the Philippine market, your headlines, you have bearish news, you've got people still doubting on whether we could actually reopen, on whether we can actually have our businesses recover by 2022. You also have to ask yourself, well, what's in plan? Will Megawide continue to do their projects? For instance, will we actually construct again? And will the houses be able to actually have demand. All those questions can be answered if you look closely or at least listen closely to what the businesses are gonna say. So I don't know if you got surprised, but apparently Mega World is doing quite okay with their office demand. So with those types of data points, we will have to check how the other property segments, say Robinson's Land, say Ayala Land, because if all of these property companies aren't really as damaged, even in a world of remote work, then you have to think closely, will that 40% discount or will that 60% discount in some of them actually merit quite a contrarian buy? So those are important questions that we will try to answer within Awesome 10X channel. So there, I hope you learned something, and then we'll try to dig deep on those property segments. Let's take a look at the questions first. Hi, Nikki. Do you think it's a good entry point to enter Security Bank at 119? Well, we took a look at the banks per se, no? The sector in the last couple of, I can't remember which time I streamed it, but we saw that the bank, most of the financial sector is actually doing well because of their net income. They were able to do well on the trading revenues. They were able to benefit from low interest rates. So in one sense, I think that the people who thought that the financing terms and the credit and the non-provision loans, non-performing loans, people who think that it's gonna be bad are not getting the data that it's really that bad. So I'd say that in some sense, Security Bank is in a range. You don't necessarily have to buy 119, but if you want to enter, say, because the 52-week low is about, sometimes it goes to 100 pesos. So I'm not saying that it will fall 100 pesos. Granted, you may never get this low, right? This used to be that low, no? 80 pesos here, 90 pesos here. But can you realistically get 100 pesos or 110? The lower, the better, syempre. So I'd say 100 to 110 is one of your best entry points. But 119, if you can handle, say, kunwari, a few shares muna rito and then more shares if it ever falls, that's also okay. Kasi right now, I think the Philippine market is more on a buy low, buy low, buy lower, buy lowest. Kasi you can do tranche talaga, low, lower, lowest. You can't assume na wala nang drop. Because the market can just surprise you na, oh, may ECQ na naman or whatever. So, mga ganon. Hi, Nikki. Which other companies trading in their range, albeit small? Why do you think the Globe continues to dip and hasn't gone above 2,000 for quite some time? Usually, you don't need to see Globe actually trade with the market. Globe is usually just stuck in a range talaga. So I would assume that Globe isn't really bought by traders. Globe is bought by people who needs that dividend. It's really about that 40 pesos every year. Globe pays, if my memory is right, 22, 22, 22. They pay about 88. They pay 4 times. Look at Globe's chart. So this is more of a suitable dividend play lang eh. So here's the dividends. This was 27 pesos. This was 25 pesos. This was 25, 31, 27. So sabihin na lang natin, because there's some taxes involved here, you get about 80 pesos malinis. So let's say I have 1 million pesos. I get 80,000, 1 million pesos. If I bought at 2,000, that means I got 500 shares, right? So if I'm getting something like 5 to 6% on it, usually that's the reason why people are buying it. So 80 pesos times 500 shares gives me 40,000. So mga ganon, 40 to 50,000 depending really on my cost. So syempre right now, mas maganda yung presyo ni Globe. Actually, you're able to get it at which price? 1,800. So don't ask yourself why it's getting sold down. Ask yourself whether you should be buying it at these levels. At these levels, actually 1,800, even if it goes to 1,600, what you're getting really here is just a dividend play. You don't expect strong movements. Actually, it's just been in a range for the past how many 5 to 10 years. So look at the chart of Globe. Since 2015 or 2014, it's just been stuck from 1,600 to 2,400. So how should you handle this? Huwag mo na siya tingnan, i-GTC mo lang. O buy 1,600, buy 1,700, buy 1,800, even there. And then, mag-post sell ka na lang, i-GTC mo, make money while sleeping ka lang. Lagyan mo ng GTC, patulugin mo yan, papila mo lang. Tell yourself or i-GTC mo sarili mo, post sell 2122. It doesn't have to happen tomorrow, pero when it happens, i-exit ka niya. Let the online broker, automatic yan, computer, automatic, GTC yan. So in a year, example, 2014, 1600, sabihin na natin, we're not able to buy at the low. Sabihin na nga natin, 2,000 pa yung cost mo di ba? Dito na lang sa middle, dito sa taas, 2,000. Okay, 1,600, 1,800, 2,000, 1,800, kahit anong presyo mo dito sa levels na to, usually talaga, every now and then, may nakakabenta sa 2,324. As to the question, bakit palaging why is it too good to be true? Why is there always a buyer at 2,3? Bakit siya tanga, di ba? I mean, you might ask yourself, bakit every year, 5 years for the last 5 years, why is there somebody willing to buy Globe Telco at 2,3? Hindi ko rin alam actually, kasi halata namang resistance siya, di ba? So, wala na, i-take advantage mo na lang. Every time 2,000 below, you buy. Every time 2,3 above, you sell. Anyway, Globe is very stable. Actually, Internet and Meralco is almost very similar. The business model is very similar. So don't expect growth, but don't expect anything else. You expect dividends. That's it. Nothing wrong with it. So if you have, simple nga 1 million, di ba? Sabihin na natin, meron kang 1,000 shares. 2 million pesos will just net you about 100,000 pesos a year. Pwede na rin. Kahit na matulog ka, may pasok na 100k pesos sa pera mo. And really, Globe is really seen more as a dividend play. It's not seen as any growth company. So, can I just buy Clay? CLI is a play yan talaga on residential. So, 5 pesos seems to have a buyer. Tapos may dividend siya every year. Hindi siya high growth, pero it was impressive in their presentation. Maganda yung numbers niya. So I'd say that CLI is trying to do something similar to what Mega World did. So I think okay naman siya. So CLI is very low, like 4 times PE lang siya, diba? So bagay, every company in the Philippines, you can't quite assume mura kasi lahat So hindi battle cry yung mura kami. So lahat naman mura So you can argue na the question lang is at 550 will there be a buyer? Pwede rin kasi siya mag 520. The problem with Cebulan Masters is still not it's not the company problem It's the liquidity lang. Like all the Philippine companies, chicken and egg lagi. Pag may liquidity, good. Pag walang liquidity, wala rin. What's your take, ma'am, on GSMI? It doesn't register in the top 30, so I think like there's no liquidity on GSMI. May I ask for a good entry for AGI? AGI always has a buyer at 7, 8, 9, 10. 6, pero hindi mo naman kuha yung 6 Parang lagi na siyang stock sa 10. There used to be a time na AGI was still trending, no? Ito pa yun dito yun 6 pesos bumibili si Andrew Tan. Ngayon natutulog siya. So AGI here about 10, parang tulog lang dito. So I think for the last few months natutulog siya rito. Big sabihin, pag tulog siya, there's no action. So if you want, you wait at 10, pero wala ring masyadong movement. You buy at 10, it goes to 12 someday, good for you. Pero pag hindi, okay lang naman. At least you know na supported naman yung 10. If we got Cebu Pacific at 38 before, which has already increased, is it logical to keep the Cebu Pacific shares given the slowdown of reopening? So I think like in a way, tama rin yun. Some people are willing to get rid of their Cebu Pacific at 48 kasi so, di ba, nakuha mo yung Cebu Pacific and then nakuha mo yung Cebu Pacific shares. You have both Sorry. Teka. So, binigay ito Binigay siya for free. Yung binibigay nila na Cebu Pacific shares, what you could do there is, yung iba, sinel nila yung half lang. Kasi parang 38 naman yung cost nila, di ba? So, hindi sila masyado worried. Siya rights to di ba? Okay. Teka lang i-close ko yung Teka, wait tanggalin ko yung share screen. Teka lang. Stop lang. Sandali FCP. Oops, sorry. Okay, sige. Let me now share my screen. Wait lang. So, you have to understand that there are two perspectives of people. Wala magbebenta ng 45 pesos kung everyone agrees that the market will reopen very high. Oops, sorry. Okay. So the reason why there's a seller on Cebu Pacific when it was very low, kasi you had to be contrarian. Palaging may buyer, palaging may seller. The only way for you guys to match is somebody thinks otherwise. So, syempre, yung mga tao nagsisell ng 45, feeling nila, well, matagal pa naman yung reopen, I can buy this back at 41, 42, which is also valid kasi you are bearish in the case of reopening, the vaccination, diba? So, it's a chicken and egg question. Honestly speaking, the person who's buying is simply of the view na matagal siya maghihintay. Pero alam niya, angat din eventually. Now, he could be wrong. 45 could really stay at 45 for a long time. So, walang answer dyan eh. Pwede ka mag-sell half, pwede ka rin mag-keep half. Kasi pag na-vaccinate ka yung Philippine market, mag-reopen, diretso yung airlines. At some point in time. I just don't know when that some point in time is. So, ganun din yun. Macro-Asia will benefit on that infrastructure. Macro-Asia doesn't benefit ata on the build. I think it benefits on the reopening. Kasi mostly aviation eh. Should we sell all our stocks in Philippine stock market and transfer them to global? In terms of the pace of increase, the problem the Philippine market kasi is, I really believe in diversification. So, sa Philippines, ang problem dito is, hindi mo alam kailan aangat, matagal. So, kapag hindi umaangat siya, umaangat yung crypto mo, umaangat yung global stocks mo, yung Philippine stocks mo patay, naiinis ka na, shucks, bakit pa ako may Philippine stocks kung loser naman siya? In some ways, you're right in saying that. Kaya, I cannot say no to people who are selling all their stocks in the Philippine markets. Kasi, opportunity cost nila eh. Parang, nag-5x na sila dito, nag-10x na sila dito, tapos sa Philippines, hindi sila masaya. So, mahirap din masabi. But at the same time, there are Filipinos din na hindi nila talaga gusto mag-sell and I can't do anything about it. Kasi kung sobrang baba rin naman, example na lang, will you sell your MAC at 5? Hindi din, diba? Kasi you think Macro-Asia will be 9 pesos someday eh. So, or 10 pesos. So, hindi ka magsisell unless willing ka to wait. I mean, I think some people are thinking na, I don't wanna sell given that pandemic, I know, mababa presyo. So, hindi rin nila gusto yun i-sell. So, I think like, should you sell all your stocks in the Philippine stock market? Hindi siya good answer because hindi ka nakakabili ng mura. I mean, the good thing about it is, yung iba kasi nag-sell sila ng stocks nila sa Philippine market since 2019, before the pandemic, and then noong 2020, nung nag-crash yung pandemic, they either bought, yung iba hindi na nag-Philippines yan, diretso global yan, diretso yan ng crypto. Now, assuming na hindi ka nag-sell, may iba rin naman, 2020, nagbenta sila ng Philippine markets nila, pinatalo nila yung Philippines nila, ouch, 30%, ouch, 50%, tapos, double, triple, quadruple, fivefold, tenfold in ibang stocks, which is US talaga and crypto. So, tama yon, best decision of the people kasi boom, kumita sila sa global and crypto. Now, look forward to 2021, here's the problem. The Philippines is still laggard, undervalued. Global, I'd suggest, yes, meron pa rin. May mga pockets of opportunity. You'd make maybe 1x on NVIDIA. You'd make maybe 1x or 2x in Alibaba, for instance na lang, kahit very simple household names. But if you're looking to buy pa rin some crypto, parang late ka na rin. Kasi, yun nga, I was telling some people, even if it goes up to 95,000 or 100,000, the risk that you're taking, 50-50, pwede mag 50% down, 50% up, parang hindi na maganda yung risk-reward mo. So, you have to think twice about what you're gonna do. Kasi, hindi sure yung ganong, I know that there's nothing sure in life, pero parang too late to move. Too late to move. It's too late to sell kasi we would sell PSE nung 7.2, 7.1 at the very least nung nag-rally. Pero hindi dito sa 6.4. Di ba? Can I just stock up on Meralco instead of Globe? Ganun din, Globe and Meralco are dividend plays. The Meralco Globe are just bond replacements. So, 8% in a year, if you can make, bakit 8%? Kasi yung mga tao na bumibili ng Meralco, when they buy it at 250, 260, or 200 pesos, well, hindi mo naman kuha 200 pesos din. They'd sell it at 290 to 300. So, minsan, there's that 20% range. So, they'll sell half, and then they'll keep the half. Chamba na lang kasi kung dumire-diretso. Pero most of the time, Meralco and Globe doesn't go up. I mean, stuck siya in a range. So if you like trading ranges, you'd love PLDT, Meralco, Globe, kasi super stuck in a range. So para may bond ka lang. And I think some people who loves it, gusto din nila ng DD REITs kasi laging bond. Very, very stable yung range eh. As well as the banks. Actually, the banks are very stable in terms of range. Pero hindi sila ganun ka-stable to pay dividends. Kasi the banks, umiikot-ikot yung dividends nila, sometimes 3%, sometimes iba. Pero BDO has been particularly consistent naman. Can I just have your thoughts on AB, Atok Big Wedge? Actually, hindi ko alam kung may news ba on Atok Big Wedge eh. Meron ba? Kasi wala naman siya sa mga volume registration. So, I don't know eh. Umaangat siya somehow from 5 na sa 10. Umangat na siya, no? So, congrats if you have it. Baka mag 19 or 18 pa. Ito, 16. I don't know. I know nothing about it. Siguro need to read more about it. I'm not sure what's happening. Atok Big Wedge. Hanap tayo news. News on EB. So, here. Speculative market play. Mining stocks are sizzling because of Felix Mining Energy, exploration resumes in the West. Okay, so forum stake. I get it. Okay, sige. So it rose to 17 pesos before. Oo, tama. I remember this one. Udena Corp is buying 100 million shares in mining firm Atok Big Wedge. So he has an existing 1,000 direct shares. So this is a Dennis Uy play, no? You're buying it because of the PXP. Udena negotiated price of 2 pesos per share. Atok Big Wedge goes to 15 pesos 60. Udena buys 100 million shares. Okay, so I think like the thoughts on buying Atok Big Wedge has to do with Dennis Uy and has to do with the PXP, no? Felix Petroleum. So ano ba nangyari? Okay, nagkaroon ng news before. Ito, 7, kaboom, 17. Bagsak siya ng 6. Some people perhaps bought it again at 7, thinking na babalik siya ng 17. There's that hope, no? So it's a play on Felix Petroleum. Ito yung galaw, 5, nag-13, bagsak sa 7. You might actually think na kung gusto mo yung Atok Big Wedge, since all of it is really a play on Felix Petroleum, try to check maybe this one. If galaw mo rin naman is if you are trying to move the play on the potential of forum, you'll probably play it on this play, no? 5, 13, 7 can go to 8 can go to 7 to 5, pero mukhang may buyer dito sa 5 to 7, and then 13 yung resistance. So baka instead of Atok Big Wedge, Felix Petroleum, not so sure, pero kung yun yung gusto mo, parang related kasi yung galaw nila. So yun. All right. Thank you very much for all the questions. Bye-bye.